Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back, ladies. It's day two inside of this private group. Big job, big fear. How to overcome the overwhelm of a big job, or a big promotion, or a big new up leveling in your career. I like to say nothing triggers imposter syndrome like a really good promotion. So, if you are a gal who is finding herself on the rise with a lot of responsibility and that has threatened your self concept and you feel shaken in your confidence and your capability and you find yourself in doubt and worry, this is day two of our training and it's for you. I have a summary that I'll share with you of what we did yesterday, and then I'm going to take you a little bit deeper on the two key skills that you need if you're facing overwhelm. How do we conquer this stress that is so distracting, so um, draining in our lives when we have a big position? Let's go and take a relook at what we did yesterday, shall we? It's a summary of the 8 most common ways that overwhelm can show up when we have a really big job. I'm going to just highlight what those 8 things are and the emotional state that arises with each. So, the first one we talked about is the pressure to perform, right? When you have a high level, high profile position, when you're elevated, when you're promoted, or when you're the boss, you feel performance anxiety at times. You feel the challenge of having to rise up to a new level, and that can trigger self doubt. Some of the things that you might be saying is, I don't know if this job is too big for me. I don't know if I'm ready for this level of responsibility. The second thing we talked about is needing to level up, needing to let go of lower level tasks in honor of the new tasks that you need to take on and how overwhelming that can feel. Sometimes that can sound like it's all on me. There's like all or nothing thinking. There's this feeling of more pressure. The third challenge that we cope with is this need to have our own back, our need to be self confident. And often what arises for us is comparison and feeling like we're not good enough compared to other people that we see out there and that we think we come up short in comparison. The fourth is a huge trigger for many of us, public speaking. As you rise up in your career, as you rise up in your roles, as you rise up as a leader, you're expected to lead out loud, to be able to lead others, to be able to share your thoughts, to be able to speak and offer proposals and motivate and incite others with excitement. A lot of people feel absolutely fearful and anxious when it's their turn to speak. And the thoughts can sound like, I wonder what everybody thinks about me, and am I doing it good enough? And it just brings so much anxiety. The fifth challenge is decision making and the need to step up to a new level of decisiveness and making workflow. And it can really trigger a fear of failure, kind of fearing like we're going to fall on our face, some more all or nothing thinking. The sixth one that we talked about is processing pace. This idea that at this new level, there's a requirement for us to be agile with a full flow of information, stimuli, questions that need to be answered, dilemmas that need to be solved. And so it's like this drinking from the fire hose issue where we need to be able to process completely and quickly, and that can lead to confusion and mind fog. And our concern is like, am I doing this right? Am I doing it well enough? The seventh thing is having a seat at the table, being an influencer, being somebody who is an innovator, who is thinking of new ideas. That challenge can really bring self judgment. And the way that I characterized it is we sometimes hesitate and hold back and worry if we're going to say something stupid or reveal that we're ignorant in some way. It's a very big challenge. And then the last one is executive presence, how we actually rise up and hold ourselves in front of a team, hold a higher level position, receive a higher level salary, receive praise, receive attention. It can be very hard for many of us to be seen and to be noticed. And so it can trigger this very vulnerable sense of wanting to hide and feeling like we're out of our league. These are the 8 core triggers that I've noticed in the over 30 years that I've worked with leaders, primarily women leaders, as they're up leveling, as they're mastering new levels. These are the triggers that arise. These are the challenges that come with new levels and the emotional triggers that result. So as I label those, you can see over here in green, it looks maybe a little bit faint. It shows us how the emotional state of these can really show up with overwhelm and self-doubt, comparison, fear, anxiety, fear of failing, fear of making a mistake, feeling stressed and confused, hesitating, holding back, not speaking up, and seeking to strive to prove ourselves, hiding out, and just feeling great senses of discomfort. It's quite a list. It's quite a challenge to hold a higher level position and be triggered in such a way. And that's why I sometimes say that newly promoted women might sometimes desire or secretly fantasize about being demoted and going back down a rung and having less responsibility, having less stress, having less of the spotlight to get rid of less of these distracting and distressing emotions. So, how does that impact you? Is that resonant for you? Do you feel like any of this is makes sense and feels like you can be seen here? All right, so today's training is what's 2 skills do you need to be able to handle the overwhelm? How do we handle the overwhelming emotions and the overwhelming experience of having a promotion or a high level position? I'm going to start with what we think the skill is. For so many of us who are high performers, who identify about being a high performer, a high achiever, who have a reputation of getting results, who are productive A-listers, who are reliable performers at work, who have a great reputation for getting results, if that's you, and if you really care about your performance, if you've been on the A team, if you've been seen as a star, if you always go for exceeding expectations, if you've been motivated to hit that high bell, then you have likely adopted an identity of who you are equals how good you do at your job, right? You do say, I'm a high achiever, I'm a high performer. I like being excellent, I like achieving excellence. And that identity will have us behave in certain ways, like getting things done, always making the grade, not being late, not defaulting, not making key mistakes. And so, what we think the solution to overwhelm is to get more work done. If we have an overwhelming level of work, our habit, our innate solution, our trained strategy for success is to get busy. So when we feel overwhelm and stress, our reaction, more often than not, our answer to that stress is get busy. It is time to multitask, double time, get stuff done. Raise your hand if you're like, that's me, or type in the comments, that's me, if that's you. We automatically revert back to our past successful strategies of getting stuff done and becoming a high work producer, somebody who handles workflow. And so this leads to us doing more, do. We want to take action. We want to make a to-do list and then make a to-do list of our to-do list and start getting busy and getting stuff done. We feel like productivity is the solution. And so we work more and we try to be productive and get after it, get on top of it. That's when we say things like, if only I had a day without meetings, I wouldn't be so overwhelmed. If only I could clear out my inbox of the thousands of emails I have, I wouldn't be so overwhelmed. If only I could lock myself in a room for an entire weekend and get back on top of things, I wouldn't be so behind. I wouldn't feel overwhelmed. We we unconsciously are trying to solve the overwhelm with more work. And this isn't sustainable. You know that, don't you? You inherently know that, right? I sometimes tell the story of how when I was first promoted to the highest levels, I felt so alarmed, kind of like my baseline level of anxiety and nervousness was such that I would naturally wake myself up in the morning before dawn, sometimes as early as 4:30 in the morning, without an alarm, just with racing thoughts of concern, worry, fear, panic, performance anxiety, all the things that we've named. And I would get up and immediately open up my laptop and start crushing through email, trying to answer all the questions, trying to unblock all of the bottlenecks, trying to activate all my teams, trying to do. And it wasn't sustainable. That leads to burnout. And it also leads to your unconscious self concept that says it all depends on me. It is all up to me. If I'm not performing at the highest levels, everything will fail. And it's a bit of an ego boost. We get something out of behaving that way. When we feel like everything's up to us and that our only solution is to take more action, we're unconsciously saying, I'm important. I'm essential. Without me, things fail. I can't delegate because I'm the only one that really knows this. So we're almost our own aid and abettor to the overwhelm that we're feeling because we feed into that belief that it does require more of us. It leads to this frenzied overwork, though, that isn't really thought out. It's not consciously decided upon. It's like that adage that I gave you yesterday, that if you have to eat an elephant, the worst way to accomplish an overwhelming task like that is to run at the elephant with your mouth open and start chewing, right? That is going to take the longest, hardest, most efforting way of accomplishing the task. But when we're not conscious of the fact that all we're doing is choosing to work more, work faster, work more hours, then that's our default decision, is to run at the elephant with our mouth open. So I also want to call out another reason why we fall into this trap of do. And it's because we get a little bit addicted to the productivity boost that we feel when we tick things off of our to-do list. In fact, science proves that this is so. The neurotransmitter dopamine is the reward hormone, and when we are productive, we give ourselves a little boost of this dopamine, this check, this done, this multitasking satisfaction that lets us know that we're achieved, that we're productive, we're moving forward, all of the good feels that go with that of task accomplishment. And so it sort of soothes our brain to stay in action. In fact, one of the most uncomfortable things when we are overwhelmed is to not take action. That's very uncomfortable, to take a day off. Like if we need to take a sick day, it feels very uncomfortable to not try to work a little bit because we're so addicted to the feeling of taking action, pacifying that anxiety of overwhelm. I want to say that again, that we are addicted to the feeling of productivity as a pacifier, as a soother for the overwhelming level of tasks that we think we need to accomplish. That it actually is a way of us coping with the stress, is staying in action. Does that make sense? The problem with this is it has us always externally motivated and externally focused. When we are doing things and taking action and working more and trying to be productive and staying busy, all of these things are focused outside of ourselves, at our inbox, at our meetings, at our project requests, at our Slack channel, at our Teams notes. All of the things are externally focused that give us more anxiety about falling behind. We notice how much there is still left to do on our to-do list, and it gives us worry and doubt that we'll ever get on top of it. Does that resonate for you? It brings more stress when we stay in this because we're just convincing ourselves that we'll never get it done. It's shaky ground to base your confidence on having all your tasks achieved, because it is delegating your self-confidence and your future calm state to the shaky ground of everybody else being satisfied and not asking for your time or energy anymore. It's not relying on your own internal sense of having things sifted, sorted, um, known, planned for, and feeling calmly composed about what you need to do. It's always looking outside of yourself to decide whether or not you're on top of things, and that will never give you a sense of peace. Is that resonating for you? If you're tracking, go ahead and give me a comment. Okay, so I've hidden this real solution. This is the fake solution that our default thinking, our socialized training, our I get an A student behavior has embedded inside of us, is that we just need to get it done. We need to get busy. We need to finish the work. But that isn't what you need at this new level. That's not the skill that you need, is to work more. Not at all. It's not going to get it done. The real solution is something very different. Are you ready? I'm going to reveal it now. All right. The real solution might surprise you. The real solution isn't found outside of you. The real solution is found deeply inside of us. And it is found by this one really key skill, the first of the two that I'm going to share with you tonight. It's by self-awareness. Now, I know I can just be predicting a colossal eye roll that might be happening out there for those of you listening to this, thinking like, oh, please don't tell me I'm going to have to meditate. I'm not going to tell you you have to meditate, but I am going to tell you that staying in whirling action and just spinning plates all the time is only creating chaos. It's only leading to frenzy. It's like a chicken with its head cut off running around, and it's the most ineffective, inefficient use of your time and energy, is just to stay in action, stay busy, and be freaking out about it. Can I get a hell yes? Do you feel me? What I'm suggesting that you need is you actually need to be aware of why you're taking action. The reason why you take action comes from two things only: your thoughts and your feelings. So let's talk about this. If, like me, if you're like me and you're finding yourself doing things like awakening before dawn to race to your computer to start getting after your massive to-do list, if you fall into the trap of constantly responding to all the email, if you're constantly trying to get ahead of your to-do list and you're bottlenecking just with longer to-do lists and feeling anxious about it all, the reason you're taking action on all of those tasks isn't because there's action to take. It's because you have a thought first. I have too much to do. You have a thought. I'm overwhelmed. You have a thought. I'm going to be late. You have a thought. Everybody's waiting on me. You have a thought like this, right? And that thought leads to a feeling of like, oh my gosh, I better hurry up. I better hustle. I'm in a hurry. I feel urgency. I'm afraid to fail. I want to perform well. I want to impress people. Your thought brings a feeling, and those thoughts and feelings are what have you race to do your to-do list. So if that's true, if you're following me, you want to be really curious about what thoughts you have. And you want to really be questioning the merit of those thoughts. Are they assumptions that you're buying into? Are they really, truly the thoughts that you need to be thinking? If we take my example again, the 4:30 a.m. email example, if I had a thought like, I have to answer all this email, I have no time, then following my counsel, I would be asking myself, is that true? Do I really need to answer all this email? And this might go on for a little while. You might think, well, yeah, it is true. I have 1,000 email. People are asking me questions I haven't even gotten a chance to read. I have like 700 unread email. Like, I am behind. That's true. Okay. But is it really a problem? Is it really a problem that you have 700 unanswered email? Well, yeah, it is because people are expecting things of me. Okay, so what is the thought here? People are expecting things of me. And that makes me feel like I'm bottlenecking or holding things back or not living up to expectations. I feel horrible. I feel uncomfortable. I feel like I'm letting people down. And that is a problem. Okay, well, then let's solve the real problem. Do I need to be answering all those email or can somebody else help me? Are all those questions still appropriate for me at this new level, or are there some that need to be redirected to other people? Is it realistic for me to get all of this work done, or is it clear to me, and maybe other people too, that I don't have enough time to answer 700 email? We need to be solving the correct problem, and just running at the elephant with our mouth open and starting to chew to try to digest the entire animal is not the solution that's going to bring you any fulfillment. It's going to take way too long and it's not even achievable. And the only way that you're going to be able to discover this is through awareness. Are you following me? Does this make sense? Are you tracking this? Thanks, Chantel. She says, resonates. So, what I'm saying is, when you're overwhelmed, the first thing you want to do is be curious. Okay, what thoughts am I having? I know I don't want to slow down. I know I need to stay in action. I know I need to do all the things, but hang on. I know actually I need to slow down to speed up. So, I need to understand, what are my thoughts? What are my implicit assumptions about the work that I have in front of me? What are the feelings that are coming along with those assumptions, those thoughts, those feelings? And what choices do I have available to me? So it's not about doing, proving, being productive, taking on more, just getting it done. That's going to lead to your nights and weekends totally dedicated to work, you feeling depressed and overwhelmed, you offloading to your partners and roommates, you not having time for hobbies and happiness. That's not the solution. Great leaders don't work all the time. That's not how we do leadership. We have to learn the skills to level up, and it starts with our awareness. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is that when you become aware and you start thinking about what presumptuous thoughts you have about the work, you start to realize that you need to do the most important work and the most impactful work, not just all the work. You need to be that conductor in front of the orchestra, right? Like we talked about yesterday. You don't assume that if the symphony has a concert, I'm going to have to play all the instruments at the same time to make the music. That's ridiculous, right? You don't assume, well, who else is going to do it? I guess I'm just going to have to. That's not appropriate. That's not scalable. You say, my role is to stand at the front and fill all the seats of the orchestra with people who can play the instruments, have them practice those skills so that the notes sound right, so that we're delivering on what we're supposed to be doing, and then to bring them all together as the conductor does in concerted fashion to make music. I'm not going to put my baton down, step off the podium, and run over and start playing violin just because the violinist isn't very accomplished. That's not my role. It takes restraint, discipline. It takes the skill of team building, but above all, you have to be aware of what your role is and be consciously thinking, what is the task here for me that's most important? What's really the true thoughts that I need to be thinking about my tasks, and are they really problems, and what problems am I solving? Okay. So if step 1 is being more aware, you ready for step 2? This may surprise you. You may have thought that today's talk was going to be about delegating or something very tactical, but it's actually very internal. It's more about who you're being at this new level rather than the tasks, the skills that you need to accomplish tasks. The Those are actually further down the line of the source of what needs to be looked at first, which is all about you. Which is good news because you're in charge of you. Okay, when we're overwhelmed and stressed, we've learned now that the first thing that we need to do is not fall into overproductivity, but to become more self aware. The second thing, the second step of awareness that you can develop is understanding how you process information. I love this image. This is the idea that um, if you are receiving a lot of stimuli, if you're receiving a lot of stress, you want to actually realize that becoming aware is the efficient and effective way to respond to that stress before you just take action. Just a little bit of a detour before I give you the second concept. And this is something that I teach in a lot of my workshops and all my new clients is understanding that stimuli can come in three ways. We can have thoughts about something, we can have feelings about stimuli and things that are coming in, and overall, we can have an amazing physical response, a body response, like a fight or flight response. So when you're overwhelmed, if you have difficulty breaking down that process of becoming more self aware, this is a tactic that you can use. What are my thoughts? What's going on in my head? I'm having thoughts that there's a lot stacking up. I'm being requested to do a lot of things. And what am I feeling about that? I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling performance anxiety. I'm feeling fear of letting people down. I'm feeling worried about what are they thinking of me. I'm feeling a lot of self-doubt because I don't know if I'm up for the task. You following me how this works? And what is my body doing? Oh my gosh, I'm having such a fight or flight response. I'm feeling so nervous. I'm feeling anxious. My heart is racing. I'm actually wanting to bolt. I want to get out of here. I want to hide. I want to disappear. I want to just run from the building. I want to quit. Important for you to be able to process what are my thoughts, what are my feelings about those thoughts, and what's my body response like. Because what you'll find, what I've shown you way back here from the summary of yesterday, let's just look at this really quick. Remember all of these feelings that I labeled: overwhelm, self-doubt, comparison, fear, anxiety, fear of failing mistakes, fear of failing and fear of mistakes, stress, confusion, hesitation, holding back, not speaking up, striving to prove myself, wanting to hide, and just feeling a general sense of discomfort. You know what all of those are? They are all feeling agitated, feeling aroused in an uncomfortable way, nervous, anxious, worried, and essentially fearful. All of those emotions have a root back down to fear, being afraid. Afraid of making a mistake, afraid of humiliating myself, afraid of blowing it, afraid I'm overreaching too high in this promotion, afraid what they'll think of me, afraid I'm going to fall on my face and blow it. All of them have this agitation that funnels into a sense of fear. Does that resonate for you? But the great coach Mel Robbins, if you follow her on YouTube or any of her channels, talks about how the frequency of fear in our body is actually very similar, if not identical, to excitement. All right, so let's talk about this for a second. If you think about going to a carnival and you want to get on a roller coaster, those are designed for our enjoyment because they pair fear and excitement right next to each other. It's that thrilling scream that you have when you're going down a roller coaster. We like that thrill. That's why we go to scary movies, is we like both being entertained but also freaking scared. I don't really enjoy scary movies, but that's why they're so popular. That we actually like that emotional blend of excitement with terror. And sometimes we seek it out. That's why thrill seekers will bungee jump or skydive or do fast sports, like kite surfing or mountain biking, things that give you a thrill. Whitewater rafting that feels scary at the same time. I like to say they're scary and fun, or scun, or they're exciting and scary, or fairy. What is that? Fun and scary is fairy. So, what we can do with this is we can notice I'm having this physical response that's feeling really agitated and really like alert and very much triggered. And that agitation feels like fear, but it can also feel like excitement if I decide that that's how I want to think about it. This is a wonderful tactic that you can use if you're feeling especially fearful in those moments that are so classically terror inducing, like public speaking. If you could think of yourself in that moment as not terrified, but excited to share your message, then you've got a powerful reframe that allows you to participate with a sense of adventure and not a sense of terror. How does that suit you? What do you think about that? So, I had forgotten that I had this particular lesson for you, but when you take a moment to actually feel your feelings, you can decide that you're going to be excited about the challenge and not just extremely worried, terrified, nervous, fearful, anxious, panicky. It might take a little coaching around what powerful thoughts can you think instead and how do you hold those thoughts. But it's wonderful to know that you are in charge of your thoughts, so you can be in charge of your experience, even if you're triggered. What do you all have to say about that? Chantel, it's lovely to have you here. All right, ladies, here's the second key skill that you need. Surprise! It's nothing tactical, it's all personal. It's courageousness. The second key skill you need to overcome overwhelm. The first is being aware, the second is being courageous. It's not fearlessness, it's not the absence of fear, it's not rebuking fear, it's not rejecting fear as an option. It's feeling that fear and understanding that it's here and deciding to be courageous with it. How can you hold fear and courage at the same time? You can. You can. You can ask yourself, okay, I'm feeling really nervous, really activated, really overwhelmed, very much performance anxiety, very concerned about what they think of me, very panicky. I'm afraid of making a mistake, all the things. I want to hide, I want to bolt. I need to then be courageous and just ask, okay, what in this moment needs to be said? What in this moment needs to be asked? What in this moment needs to be clarified? Often our role clarity or deliverables or our priorities, once they're clarified, that can give us huge relief when we're feeling overwhelmed. What needs to be released? Like if I'm clarifying my priorities with somebody who's a thought partner with me or my supervisor, maybe that person can help me release lower level tasks that I'm thinking I have to do that will give me a tremendous sense of permission to follow the most important work, not just all the work? And is there a request that needs to be made? Often I find women at higher levels assume they're supposed to just know how to operate, how to achieve, and they're afraid to ask for things. They're afraid to ask for more resource, for an assistant, for a temp, for more budgetary resource to purchase something that will help alleviate the workflow strain that they feel. You, when you're courageous, will ask for what you need. But first, you have to be aware of what you need, right? So when we're courageous, we're ready to be curious and ready to ask or say or speak to something that previously we weren't aware of because we were just scurrying and hurrying. We were just getting busy. We were just doing all the things, running around in a frenzy with our head chopped off. Does that make sense for you? That courageousness is the skill you need to develop so that you can ask the questions and clarify the uncertainties that will enable you to do the most important work. Okay, so I'm hiding something here. I'm going to reveal it now. So, what do you need to be able to be courageous? What do you need to be able to ask questions, to clarify things that you're uncertain about? What do you need to be able to release yourself of lower level tasks or of competing priorities? What do you need to be able to request for something? Well, we talked about you need awareness and you need courage, but you also need to learn how to first soothe your nervous system and step yourself down from the panic and the fear that is whirling inside of you and making you race and want to just get stuff done without analyzing what's most important to get done. You need to believe in yourself, that you're important enough and valuable and worthy. You need solid self belief so that you know that you have a right to ask for these things. I think so many women feel triggered at this level because they haven't done the work to really lock in a rock solid foundation of self belief. And when they're exposed at these higher levels, they feel too shy, too modest, too unconfident to be able to do these things because they don't feel like it's their place, or they're so fretful that it's they should already know it. But really confident people ask stupid questions. Really confident people will speak the truth to something very simple. That's what you need to actually grow your confidence, is this solid self-belief that makes you feel justified to do these actions. You need to have better self-talk so that you're not always downgrading yourself and thinking, I feel stupid for asking this and I don't want to look dumb and I feel like um, I just, that self-abuse, that self-sabotage, that inner critic in our head, if we let that run unchecked, we'll be holding ourselves back from doing the daring, courageous requests that we need to speak the truth, to ask good questions. And all of that comes from solid self-confidence that we need to be able to operate at this level without feeling overly triggered, without overly worrying what everybody else is thinking. We need to worry more about what we're thinking and what we need so that we aren't being completely driven to distraction every day to meet the unexpressed expectations that we assume are out there by everybody else. The solid self-confidence decides what is a yes and no, what is a priority, and if we're not sure, we clarify it with somebody and we take conscious action because we feel a sense of self-assuredness. We're operating with our skeleton inside, not an exoskeleton outside that's held together, crutched together by what we think everybody else wants and trying to please and perform for everyone else. But instead, knowing that we're good enough, that we've got the goods, that we've got the smarts, we've got enough expertise, we have enough that we can make good decisions right now from the place where we're at. Okay, I want to pause and just see, how are you feeling about all of this? Where are you right now with these lessons? If you're tempted to ask, how? How do I get these things? That's a conversation that we're going to take a little deeper in a minute. Right now, I just want to ask you, what would you do if you were really courageous? What would you do if you weren't afraid to look stupid or to ask a silly question? What would you do if you knew you could not fail? What would you do if you know that you're always okay, no matter what? And how would you behave if you knew that you had your own back? If you knew that you had your skeleton inside and you weren't crutching your self-concept based on the impressions and the validation that you get externally? This is not about you being unafraid. It's about you knowing how to behave when there is fear. Because all of those emotions that come up are natural. They all have a base root in fear. So your challenge isn't to not feel fear. Your challenge is to develop the skill to adapt when fear is here. And those skills are here. And being able to soothe your fight or flight response, have solid self belief, have rock solid self confidence, really good self talk, to know that you're always okay, to be able to trust yourself because you've got a foundation of self confidence. You've got faith in yourself. Okay, now you may be thinking that the way that you get these things is through time, through experience, through more training or certifications, through more external validation, through more subject matter expertise, or some other sort of benchmark that you think is outside of you that needs to be attained before you can feel confident. But my whole message to you is, it doesn't take time. It doesn't take years on the job for you to be an effective, capable leader. It doesn't take more expertise, seeing all of the circumstances and then knowing how to respond. That's not the easiest, fastest way for you to get what you need. In fact, there are lots of people out there that have plenty of expertise, plenty of experience, plenty of time under their belt, and they're not effective at their leadership position because they haven't done the inner work. So this is the moment where I'm going to tell you how I help my clients achieve all of these things in a short time frame so that they can relieve themselves of the debilitating stress that fear is serving them and learn how to hold themselves straight and tall with their skeleton strong inside and be courageous despite the fear. There are skills that they learn. There are tactical tips that they employ. There are new beliefs that they hardwire so that they become completely confident from the inside out, ready to handle the stress and the overwhelm of their high level position. You ready? This is all about the Completely Confident Leadership Program. So this is where I explain how you take the next steps to get the results that you want. You've listened to webinars. You've joined my free trainings. You listen to podcasts. You read self-help books. You are curious and desirous to up-level and feel relief and not be freaked out with the stress anymore. And yet you're missing the key action you need to take. And it is going all in on you. It is saying, okay, I want to go all in on me so that I actually embed the skills, integrate the learning, personally implement these tools in my day-to-day life to finally up level, not to think about it, not to listen to it, not to hope, but to actually put myself into the lessons and be personally coached so I can progress, so I can pull through the triggering experiences and survive and thrive. It could mean at some point that you do decide to downgrade your career because it's too stressful, but you want to make a conscious decision about that, not just one that is a fight or flight, not just to flee out of fear. So, what I provide is an opportunity for a small group of women who I onboard every other month into a small coaching cohort. Women who are just like you, who care about their performance, who are sensitive, who fear making mistakes or not making the grade, who like to get things done and get things done well, but are feeling so stressed about the high level positions that they hold, they're very triggered. So, what we do is we go through these leadership lessons that are in my leadership vault, my members only area, where we take one lesson a week, bite sized chunks, step by step, starting at square one. How do you become more self aware? How do you become more self managed? How do you embed the skills of having your own back? How do you deal with fear and defensiveness inside of you? How do you deal with the fear of being humiliated or being wrong or being rejected or being judged? We work on that so that you have more tools when you're triggered. And then after you learn these lessons, the difference that is made is when you join a small weekly coaching cohort to integrate the lessons, to implement the learning, to explain this is how the lesson played out on my week. This is how I practiced this new skill. This is what worked for me, and this is what didn't work for me. And get personal coaching and training on the lesson so that you're making it your own. I find this is so valuable. This is why just reading a book or listening to a podcast isn't transformative because it's a passive modality. You listen to something and it makes sense. You do want to implement the lesson, but until you actually have feedback where you apply yourself to a lesson and then you get some trained third party professional who can see what's working for you and where you're holding yourself back, you will only be coaching yourself. And there's only so much we can do with our brain to in, encourage transformation in our own brain, right? We need help. It's like if it's an athletic metaphor, it's why a pitcher or a golfer can't improve their throw or their swing because they can't really see what they're doing wrong or what is not quite on par or effective. Having a coach, a third party, somebody who's trained to help you become more effective is the difference. So, with our weekly leadership lessons and our small group coaching, you're able to integrate these lessons in a powerful way that immediately gives you a sense of momentum and you see yourself excelling and accelerating. It gives you a sense of courageous, um, willing to try more risks. You start to build a sense of a self concept that is more resilient and more willing to be excited and not scared, right? All of this work starts with a personal leadership assessment that is this validated tool that I use that is it's been cross-referenced over hundreds of thousands of people in your demographic to be able to give you a picture of your strong strengths and how you demonstrate them so that we can use this as your superpower, as your map for how you're going to grow your leadership. It's a very powerful tool that I leverage to help women see objectively how strong they are and how they can utilize those strengths in an even more leveraged way. All of this happens with our amazing supportive community, with women who are going through the course with you, and with my alumni in a private group that you'll learn more about when we talk on the phone. Okay, I offer lots of bonuses for women that join my Completely Confident Leadership group because I know the challenges that being a working professional bring while you're trying to uplevel your skills. I know that you don't have a lot of time. I know that you don't have a ton of time to dedicate to a course or go to school. That's why these lessons are short and that you have lifetime access. And that's why you get weekly coaching so that you get titration of input and feedback and accountability and lessons integrated. But the best feature of all is that I have found that the transformation really happens when there's a friction point. When my clients have conflict, when something arises in them that strikes fear, when they have a challenge and they need coaching in that moment, the most valuable portion of my program that I provide is this daily access to me via voice and text messenger access, where my clients can ask me a question anytime. And as long as I'm awake and available, not on a coaching call, I'll provide real time feedback, accountability, support, reminding them of the lessons they already know, a potential reframe that unblocks some feeling that they have of all or nothing thinking, a new way of seeing something that releases the pressure. And it is powerful. This is the reason why I keep my group so small, so I can provide this daily coaching to the women that are in my cohort so that they can really get the results that they seek. Super good. I also am a public speaking workshop facilitator. I am a trained public speaking coach. I have taught thousands of people how to become effective, articulate, motivating, inspiring public speakers without distracting mannerisms. You can see, do I say and like a lot? I don't. I've learned how. I can teach you how to be a powerful, effective public speaker without over preparing, without writing down every bullet point that you're going to speak. Being able to speak like I am, connecting so that people feel understood and heard, so that you can paint word pictures and inspire people. What an amazing skill it is to uplevel your speaking. Having this as a part of a bonus inside of our leadership group is huge. And it's something that I offer to all my new cohort onboarded clients. And then the third thing that is a bonus is because there's so many opportunities for us to be able to be up leveled, and because you're so busy, I also have another group going right now. It's my alumni, the women who have graduated from this course and have decided that they wanted to carry on with the lessons, take them deeper, do the 2.0 version, who want to continue to have this weekly support and coaching in their life. They're part of my alumni group. They meet every week at the same time. And while you're a current student, if you like the topics that are advertised that they're going to be debriefing and getting coached on, you can get a bonus coaching call every single week by joining the alumni call. It's just an extra special bonus. You get double the coaching. All of this is an effort, not for you just to get coached, but for you to relieve yourself of the tension and the pressure that you feel, of feeling like you're alone, having to deal with all of this stress, not having the skills to be able to rise up and manage yourself when you're so triggered. This is the ultimate outcome that we're going for. These are just the features that I provide that get you there. Now, is the time for you to take action. Because if you are just thinking about this, if it sounds good, in 4 months' time, you will be in the same place as you are today. You have to actually take action. You need to commit and say, I'm all in. You need to be willing to step forward and commit to yourself getting this training in a personalized way for you to see the results. You've joined a lot of these workshops. You know that they're uplifting and they're inspiring, but for you to actually have that inspiration inside of you, inside your DNA, the coaching piece is what's missing. And that's what I'm offering you. So the way in which you get after it is you come to my website, www.joeleader.com/apply. It's where you see the complete details of the program, but most importantly, it's how you take the next step. That at the very top of the page is a link that says, it's a button that says book a call. Because my cohorts are small and I want to make sure that the women are all well suited to be included in the same group, I vet every new client that comes in with a call. So it gives us this great opportunity to meet in real life. When you book a call, you and I get to meet on a call, and I get to hear from you what's going on for you, what your challenges are, and I can assess whether or not this program is the right thing to help you. It's not the right thing for everyone. If these lessons have felt resonant to you, chances are it's a really good fit. But let's make sure together. On that call, you have space to feel seen and heard, for me to explain how my process works, how it can work for you, and if it's a good decision for you. The price is as affordable as I can make it for working women. Well, it's very expensive for a one-on-one executive coaching experience for an engagement that's just for a single executive. I make it a monthly fee that can fit in most working women's budget that is less than $500 a month, which is exceptional when you consider what having a coach means. Many coaching engagements are 5,000, 6,000, up to $10,000 to have a coach in your corner. But you get weekly coaching with me and even daily coaching with me for less than $500 a month. So that you have a champion in your corner, somebody who knows you, knows your inherent strengths, knows your operating system, knows how you can positively leverage your brilliant superpowers, and can coach you to your higher ground, especially when you fall off into the pit of self-judgment, self-doubt, worry, compare and despair, feeling imposter syndrome, feeling like you don't belong, feeling fearful. You most likely just need some support, a powerful reframe, and some leadership lessons that will get you on your way, that you will carry for life. It's a 4-month program. I offer tons of bonuses that I can explain when we talk on a call, but the very first step you need to do is book a call with me by joeleader.com/apply, and to do it before the end of this weekend if you want this special weekend bonus. I've explained that inside my members' alumni mastermind, I've had several special speakers come to share their levels of expertise in different modalities to help us work on our whole body concept, our whole health, our confidence inside and out. Recently, I had a clinical hypnotherapist come and join us who provided us a tailor-made hypnosis tape, a meditation, if you will, that we listen to before we go to bed. Everyone has their own recording called I Am Enough. It's this beautiful um, version of thoughts, inspired affirmations that put you into a mellow state and allow you to up level your thinking about who you are and what you can achieve. The women that are using it right now are claiming amazing results at suddenly feeling a looser, more easy way of feeling confident and calm and self-assured. It's pretty exceptional. So I thought, as an extra special bonus for my fast action takers, for women who book a call with me before the end of this weekend, before May 24th, I'm going to provide for you this as a special gift. This recording bonus of I Am Enough, my clinical hypnotherapist's meditation tape that she brought to our group. The doors are only open for the Completely Confident Leadership June cohort until May 27th. So just until about the end of the month. So I've cleared my calendar to be able to meet with you so that I can see, what do you need? Where are you in your career? What are triggers for you? Are you a good candidate for coaching? Are we a good match for this program? And what are the next steps that you can take? That's what your call to action is. Book a call with me at joeleader.com/apply. It's lovely for me to meet women in my community, and I guarantee that even having a 1 hour call with me will bring you so much clarity. Even if you decide not to enroll, it is an absolutely beautiful experience to feel a judgment free zone where you can express what's happening for you and be held in a container that allows for you to be seen and heard and to understand exactly what it is that's going on for you and to know that you're not alone. Powerful stuff. All right, ladies, that's the end of our training today. Look for more that's coming in our Facebook group. And more than anything, it's time for you to get on my calendar, for you to really embed these lessons for you for life at joeleader.com/apply. I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.